Right now is Family Research Council President Tony Perkins. Tony, nice to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Make the case. Why is Cruz your guy?
Well, I think he's best prepared and positioned to come out of Iowa on into New Hampshire and South Carolina to win the nomination and win the general election. I think he has what many conservatives are looking for. You can see the angst, the anger toward both political parties. That's why Trump is doing so well. But I think when you look at Ted Cruz's record, his political rhetoric matches his record, and I think he's in the best position to capture the conservative vote that the last two Republican nominees were not able to get.
I mean, can he win a general election, though? I mean, I keep saying that it feels like he's very principled, that he sticks to his, he sticks to his beliefs. But then there's the other side of that argument that he doesn't have any friends in the Senate. He's had so many arguments with people, goes against people in the Senate, called Mitch McConnell a liar on the Senate floor. Can he bring people together and win the general election?
Well, under normal circumstances, I would say we need someone who is, more of, someone who just makes everybody feel good. But given the state of our nation, we've seen the policies of Barack Obama that really has put our nation in a tailspin, both economically, culturally. We need someone who's not afraid to go against the grain. I mean, look, nothing happens in Washington very much. I mean, it never moves. It's always the same. They just change the jerseys but run the same plays. American people have caught on to that. That's why the outsiders have done so well in this election. But you don't want somebody who's just going to come up and uproot the city and not know what they're going to replace it with. You know that Ted Cruz is a constitutionalist. He will limit himself to the boundaries of the Constitution. We need someone who will trample further upon the Constitution as Barack Obama has done.
Here's Dagan McDowell.
Tony, Donald Trump's past stance on abortion being in favor of even partial birth abortion, why do you think that hasn't hurt him more in terms of the polling?
Well, I think if you look at, in Iowa in particular, the latest poll that came out over the weekend with evangelicals, Ted Cruz is nearly double the support among evangelicals as Donald Trump. I think that what's happening is that evangelicals, look, they're not monolithic. They're a large swath of the voting population, 90 million eligible voters in the evangelical ranks. And look, they're just as concerned about everybody else in this country, about the economy, about security. And so those issues right now I think are at the forefront. But as they drill down, they begin to look at those character issues. They begin to look at the faith construct. Do they identify with the candidate? And that's why I think that Ted Cruz is best positioned going forward to capture that vote as people begin to think seriously who they're going to support.
Yeah, we got to get Senator Scott Brown in here.
Yeah, Tony, first of all, very quickly, not everybody's a conservative. So what do you tell the moderates and liberal Republicans who have been lifelong Republicans that, hey, by the way, Ted's our guy because he's conservative. That's all you hear all the time. And I have Cruz, Carson, Rand, Huckabee, and Rubio fighting for that conservative vote, not only in Iowa, but in New Hampshire. And that leaves the ability for others to kind of go in because they're appealing to a wider base, because independents are playing in New Hampshire. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that wider base wasn't enough in the last two election cycles to get a Republican elected. I think you have someone who can reach further than just the conservatives, and that's where I think Ted Cruz is best positioned. He goes into the Tea Party vote, the Libertarian vote. He clearly has the connections with the evangelical vote. Look, they're 50% of primary voters and a third of the general election voters. They stayed home in the last two cycles, and that's why the Republicans failed. You do have to go beyond that base, but you have to have that base to win.
Tony, real quick, go ahead.
Ted Cruz pro-growth economic policy, Tony, what is it?
Well, he's talking about a flat tax, a tax that would be equal, eliminating a lot of the exemptions. We'll see how far that goes. Obviously, he has to work with Congress. But look, the thing that he talks about most that's beneficial from an economic standpoint is regulations. Eliminating the regulations that harness businesses and keep them from growing.
Yeah, for sure. Tony, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Have a great day.
Tony Perkins. We'll be right back.